Today we're coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky. The title of today's interview is How to Exponentially Grow Your Business. And the exponentially part is key here. And once you get into this interview, you'll understand why. My name is Scott Joseph. I'm your host. And today I'm talking with growth expert Tom Drexler. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. I'm proud to be here. Thank you, Scott.
All right. So every business leader can understand how to create a vision, which is, I think, key to a lot of what you've done, and accomplish huge goals when it comes to growth. So Tom, thank you again for joining the interview. Let's jump in.
Well, I'm Tom Drexler, owner of Tom Drexler Plumbing, Air and Electric in Louisville, Kentucky. And we've been very fortunate, over the past 10 years to grow 20, 25, 17, 21, but, on an average about 23% a year over year. So in 2008, we were about a $3 million company. We should wrap up this year around $45 million. And
repeat that again.
So in 2008, we were a $3 million company, and then now we should wrap up this year, around $45 million.
So a couple things I want to point out about, first off, that growth is for any company that's doing $45 million a year in sales, obviously has focused heavily on growth, and especially when you're starting from 3. But you're 100% residential. You're not even doing big commercial projects, correct?
No, we're 100% residential. Our average sale is all over the place, from different departments, anywhere from a couple $100 to $10,000. Is the department with our highest average sale. So it's a lot of everyday, small jobs.
Even if you had average sales of just across all departments of $7,500, $10,000, $45 million is a ton. But the fact that you're doing that where you have a lot of departments doing a few hundred that's just mind-boggling to me. What area do you cover?
We're in Louisville, Kentucky. We cover all adjacent counties, so that's southern Indiana, and every county that touches Jefferson. We're in the process of putting in 2 satellite branches in Frankfort, Kentucky, and in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, just to kind of, stretch our boundaries.
So why Louisville?
Well, that's just where I'm from.
All right.
Yeah, of course.
So let me ask you, walk me through how you got started, and then what was the switch, your aha moment when you said, all right, I want to go from here, I want to take it to a whole new level?
So I come from a family of plumbing contractors. My dad owned a small company. My grandfather did. When I got out of high school in 1978, pretty bad economic times. Manual High School.
Okay.
And pretty bad economic times then. The interest rate was 20%. Very few jobs around. So I was pretty fortunate that I had a girl that I knew from high school that her parents owned a lot of rental property. And, I started working for them a lot, doing a lot of, small jobs. And a couple years later, I got my license, all that, put to bed, and, started advertising a little bit and doing all kinds of plumbing work. And had, my sister came to work with me for a long time, and had a couple, friends that decided to get into plumbing. And so we slowly grew in for the first 10 years, 10% a year, and, it was good, solid, slow growth, made money. And one of the things when I look back about when I started, I used to be proud that I started in bad economic times and bragged about that a little bit. But really, it was a good thing because the staffing and the people were there. Yeah. So we would run an ad in the Courier-Journal, local newspaper, and there would be 10 plumbers knocking on my door, Monday morning. Hey, can I get a job? And we just, okay, well, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
A little bit different
than today, where you almost have to grow your own because they're not coming knocking on the door. I'll tell you that. So anyway, but there was definitely a catalyst. I learned about a best practices group. It's called Nexstar, and
this is about 10 years in.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, more than that probably. So 15, 20 years in, whatever.
That's even better though, because you are 15 to 20 years in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Doing good, but in comparison to now, it's not even close.
Right.
And now you just sit there and what made you say after 15 years to say something's got to change? We're doing well, but something's got to, because 15 years is a long time.
Yeah. Well, when going to this group, I felt like I was on an island. I was a member of the local plumbing association, was president at one point, and you get stuff there, but people aren't sharing too much because they're your competitor and your friend, and they'll help you a little bit. But I was pretty lucky also early on that I felt like I was good with taking advice. And if somebody told me, which happened about 3 times, hey, here's someone who, maybe can help you, then I would go have lunch with them. And if they gave me advice, I would take it. So I've had several really good mentors in my life, some really involved, some not as involved. But anyone out there, if there's, go ask. People will help. They love to help, and if you, successful people, most of them don't mind sharing and, be aggressive about it. I mean, call them a couple times and,
there's almost a high you get from helping. There is a high I think you get. I contribute this. I've been active on Clubhouse lately, and it's really just an app about sharing ideas and best practices and ways to do. And I have to tell you, I get off these calls. I feel great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like truly a great high. So I think people don't understand or they underestimate that. And so maybe they're afraid to ask for help to where you're going with, because I think you're right. Highly successful people truly love helping.
Yeah, they do. So anyway, I went to this big meeting, and they call it the super meeting, their annual. And
this is the Next Star.
This is the Next Star group. It was in Pittsburgh, and met some of the members there, the prospective members. They call them VIPs, and they put you in a separate room for a couple days. And then when they have the big speaker that comes into town, whatever, then they'll let you go, be part of that. But as far as the other breakouts and the other sharing, you're not part of that. And it was very eye-opening. And I met a few people there that just I could see in their eyes that they were advocates of this group, and how it had changed their lives. And they run their businesses more professionally. They were better at marketing, better at customer service, better at training, getting better deals on their, trucks and supplies. It was a considerable investment, but.
Is it fair to say it was larger than anything you had done up to that point in terms of like? By
far, for any sort of investment in education or, knowledge base, by far. Yeah. And so, I joined and made a few friends, and it was I spent a couple of years going to every month, probably whatever meetings they had. If there was a peer group at another company's shop, no matter where it was, I would take my time and go. Took my service manager at the time and just really immerse myself in, meeting people in that organization. And, to be honest, it wasn't. Didn't come natural to me. You go to a meeting, there's a lot of people there that know everybody, and they seem to, a lot of people know. So, you just have to find your way and be a little bit assertive to get people's names and cards and call them up and ask them a question or whatever. So, anyway, I learned a lot, over those couple of years, and especially when I got into bigger organizations. So if I'm a $3-5 million shop, and I go visit one, that's a $10 million company, they're doing things differently to get there. Yeah. And then so there definitely is levels. So you have to kind of visualize out and see, see what that next level looks like, and visualize that in your mind and plan a little differently.
What do you think stops most people from taking that step?
Maybe they, comfortability, people get set in their ways. I think sometimes they'll take a step or two up, and then it's not comfortable. Things start going wrong. And I think some people are too quick to just reel back. Okay, I want let's get everybody back in the same room again, and and not trust the unknown. I mean, Michael Gerber, I read a lot of books, and one of his books talks about you hire a few people, you train them and you trust them, and then all of a sudden things don't go right, and one of your best customers called, and then oh my gosh, I shouldn't have maybe done this, and so I think they kind of get nervous and bring it back into where they're comfortable and kind of stay in that same situation.
They throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. Instead of just maybe looking at the whole big picture. And there's been times during my years that I've 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and other times 2 steps forward, 2 more forward. Yeah. It depends on how well things are going.
When you started going back and you started taking on started learning some of this stuff, and so basically, and we've spent a lot of time on the show, especially lately, talking about surrounding yourself with the right people, which is basically what you've done, right? You're now in this group, you're a group of people that have achieved levels you had not achieved yet, right?
Of course.
And so you're learning from them. You're also have an ability, you're networking with this people. You've expanded your circle in the sense of, I would assume you could call these people up and they're helping you just like you probably do for people now.
Yes.
All right. What are some of the early things, some of the early changes that you made that made a big impact?
So one of my new group, although Nexstar, has what they call upfront pricing. So when you go to someone's house, you say it's going to be X for this service, menu pricing, versus a time and material pricing. So it's just the new way to do it. So, and it's hard to change. So when I'm taking my technicians or my office or whatever and change them into, this is how we're going to do this. This is kind of a major change. So,
isn't that easier on them to have that listed? The prices are a little higher. We needed to charge a little more because we wanted to become the company that we wanted to be, the company we are now, where we provide benefits and new trucks and 401k plans and health insurance and some of the things we didn't have before. So, so for the company to be the type of company that, you need it to be, you do the math and you have to charge a little more. Yep.
So some of the, our technicians and office staff got cold feet and did,
And before you go on, I want to clear something up with what you just said. It didn't stop customers from coming to you. So obviously you were also adding value to customers in a way, and we'll get into that, whether it's through service and support and better service and better support, to be able to justify that. Some people think, wow, if I charge a little more, I'm not going to grow market share. I'm not going to grow sales. It's going to go the opposite direction. Complete opposite for you. If you went from 3 million to 45 million, that's obviously had zero impact on that.
Well, the type of person that shows up at your front door working for Drexler today and their training level and their professionalism is way different than what it was back, when we had 25 employees at $3 million or whatever.
Good point.
So,
all right, so you were talking about you had to change to the pricing menu.
Yeah, so
that change was difficult.
So we made several changes, and some of the people in the group that I joined, they said, you're going to lose some of your staff. And I'm like, well, I don't think so, because I really have a good relationship with, a lot of these technicians, and, we've been together for a long time. And so, long story short, over a 2-year period, lost every one of them. Yeah. And including my sister. So, because they're thinking I'm crazy because we're going a different direction, because we're changing. Yep. We're not just, we've always done it this way. Well, I know, but I've seen a different way that's, I think, better.
Why is it that it always takes 2 to 3 years for either the employees to figure that out or for the employer to figure that out, instead of just saying, hey, maybe we all need to go just hold the band. But clearly, I think there's only a certain percentage of people that do it in such a massive way like you've done. What are some of the misconceptions? What's one of the top misconception that most businesses that aren't able to achieve that type of growth, what do you think that is for them?
Probably first of all, the vision the vision, the belief, and then the plan.
Yeah.
Do they really, really want to do it?
How did you go? Because let's talk vision. All right, because it's not always easy to sit there and say, you know what, we're going to go from 3 million to 45 million. I'm not saying that was your vision at the time, but you clearly thought huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Made you think, and was it just as simple as I saw all these other people doing it once you joined that group?
For the most part, I went to one of these. I went to a group in Omaha, but I met a guy from Philadelphia, and his business was 45 million at the time. This was, probably 10 years ago, whatever. And, I got to spend some time with him, and, he was one of the ones that really ended up being kind of a mentor to me. His name is Mark Aiken. He's from Horizon Services in Philadelphia, Delaware. And, I called him after that, and he was gracious enough to let me visit their company and shared some things. We were just starting into the HVAC, and, they gave me a kickstart with some practices there. And, he just said, some growing or not growing, it's not right or wrong. It's just if you want to decide to do it or not. And I saw their nicer offices and the way things were laid out, and we knew we were, growing out of space. And really, be honest, we did sit down and kind of do the math and look ahead. And, we have these meetings every year that we haven't had as well with COVID, but, called Vision Day. And, 1 year we just kind of mapped it out and said, in 1, 3, 5, we're going to go we're going to add in these other verticals, HVAC and electric, and we're going to change the way we do this other department. And, this is the future, and this is where we're going to get to. And we achieved those goals.
How big was the jump from, all right, here we are today, you're doing this vision meeting. How big was the jump to go 1, 3, you mentioned the 1, 3, and the 5, if you can remember?
We were around about a $10 million company at the time. And, the goal.
It took you 15 years.
Well, that up to that point, 20. Yeah, because that was after we were already with the group for a while. So that was the 3, the 3 to the, to the 10. And so it was in 2012 or 13 when we had that meeting. So that's been about 8 or 9 years ago. And the vision was, 35, 40 million. And here we are at 45.
So you almost 5 times it in half the amount of time it took you to get to that number.
Yeah. So
if it took you 20 years to get to that, we're only looking at about 10 years, not even 10 years, 8 to 9, like you said, to 5 times that number. It's incredible growth. And certainly, at some point, someone had to say, because I've been in these type of meetings, somebody had to say, Tom, we only do 10. We've gotten 20 years to get to 10 million. How do you expect us to get to, I'll let you say this number in 5?
Well, it's just just the path we're on. I mean, it's just, it's a throughput, right?
Yep.
You get opportunities, leads.
Yep.
You mark for those, which is what you help us do.
Yep.
Great at it.
You can say that again.
Yeah. So, okay. So,
say that as often as you want.
Okay. Yeah. J&L is tremendous. So, but, right. So you're getting an opportunity, and you're going to convert that opportunity at 1%, and it's going to be an average sale, and you're going to get a margin on that. And so just really continuing to, improve on that. But I believe in tracking a lot, and, for a long time, we've tracked all of our data and how many opportunities we get and what we do with each of those opportunities. And then when you get a plan to get more opportunities through marketing and different means and sales coaching or plans to, create added value to increase each opportunity, it just
becomes. You're upselling and you're cross-selling. And then at the same time, you've got this number that you put out there for 5 years. And then it sounds like part of your solution is we want to add the HVAC and the electric, correct?
Right.
So you're adding different verticals. I mean, it's home services, but it is a different niche within it. And so that brings on there's a lot of business leaders that are listening right now thinking, trying to get my people to switch over. And right now I can't find people just for what we currently do. And all the challenges and excuses people will come up for themselves to not do these things. And then to do them all at once.
Yeah.
If you had to start over, what would you change? What would you have done differently?
In hindsight, I probably would have, joined this group or found them sooner. I would have done the HVAC and the electric sooner, than we did probably. But, I don't look too much backwards, about all that. From our standpoint, it's different, but it's the same. So as a home service business, we market for leads and we answer the telephone. We have, 17 call takers, and then we dispatch calls and we take trucks and we set them up with tools and parts. The warehouse does. And, we coach customer service and sales training. So whether it's a little different for electrical or plumbing, but it's not that different, because most of the things to run an electrical business are the same things you need to run a plumbing business or HVAC business. It's just the widget itself. So these are technical businesses, and we need people who totally understand plumbing, HVAC, electrical, the bathroom modeling that we do. And we need experts, in those technical expertises. But, within the company, we have people that could teach to answer a phone call, that can teach customer service, and then,
this is where you're
the
a
marketing
businessman, because everything you just said, you equated to, it doesn't change much between the plumbing. And by the way, when you took on the HVAC and the electric, you were already really good at the plumbing part of it.
Yeah.
So it's not like you sit there and say, all right, I'm going to learn all this and do them all at the same time. You were very good at this and then said, now I'm going to take on these two projects. But everything you just described, you've got the call center to handle the leads that come in quickly, so people aren't waiting around. It's very responsive. And you've got the people trained, because in the end, that describes what every business or what every customer wants from an experience.
I think in a lot of businesses, there's room at the top for a higher level of service. In the higher level of service, the value-added things is not always costly or hard to achieve. It's just deciding that, we're going to provide a higher level of service. Yeah. And it might come with a little bit of cost, but I think at the end, it'll be a more successful, profitable business.
The experience you create for customers, would you agree that it's the easiest way to differentiate yourself?
100%.
So a lot of my clients on the agency side or auto, it's probably a very similar perception from consumers. I don't sit there and think, plumbers, I'm going to get outstanding customer service from them. So by taking this and really focusing in on that, and like you said earlier, when my person shows up, the person I work with shows up at the house, they're going to be different. They're going to stand out. You're going to notice right away that they're different than everybody else that you're used to dealing with, and maybe how they respond and communicate and their knowledge and experience. And so it's an easy way to just differentiate your entire company and everything you do or your brand from everybody else. In auto dealers, it's the same thing.
Yeah. I got a text on my phone from someone that I happen to know that we did a job for yesterday. And it's just like, the service was amazing. And she said, I have never experienced service like that ever from a service professional in my home. So that's what we want. We don't always get it. Yeah. We don't always do things right, but for the most part we do. We'll always take care of it if we didn't. But, we do that a lot. I mean,
when something messes up, what's your philosophy? So I'm curious, how are you addressing your industry can't be any different. We kind of brought it up earlier. How are you attracting new talent? Like, what are you doing to meet that challenge?
We're offering a career path to individuals who may not have found that college was right for them, or maybe they've just haven't found their way yet. So really our ideal person that we want to bring into the trades is not necessarily a 18-year-old out of high school. We have a little better luck with somebody in their mid-20s or maybe 30 who either went to college or did it and just really haven't found a gratifying, rewarding, career. And
what's a career path? When you say career path, what's that? You probably have a few different paths, obviously, but what does that kind of look like? So if I'm interviewing with you, how would you describe that to me?
Okay, well, Scott, look, if you can, willing to, to sign on with us to be, maybe start out a warehouse driver or plumber's helper. Next spring, we'll have a school we're going to put you into, and you'll be hands-on trained, for 4 months, and you'll be in and out of the truck with other guys, but then you'll be, learning through video and you'll be on your way to, to becoming a licensed plumber. We'll have you out there as a maintenance technician first. And, the first year, you're probably just going to make 30, 35. But then, in 2 years, you'll get your license. That'll almost double immediately. And, you'll be up there. We've got guys in six figures, and then if you end up getting into leadership or management, those are different opportunities. But,
and we have leadership meetings. I know I've research a little bit. So, so there's that path as well, and we can go into that in a little bit. But what I love what you said, because there's a lot of industries. Adam Aarons, who's a previous guest on the show, does a phenomenal job when he's recruiting people, explaining the career path. And I think the auto industry, it's not like you graduate college and say, can't wait to go sell cars.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. So you're really, it is an incredible opportunity in the auto industry. Those guys make a lot of money.
Yeah.
It doesn't require a ton of experience. But Adam does a great job luring in the right people with a very similar strategy that you have, and that's through this career path, which is, quite honestly, in the auto industry, no one thinks of it like that. If I had to say, what's the number one thing that's made you so successful and such a successful business person? Is, man, you have just, once you got over that hump after the 15, you have really invested in yourself, in self-improvement. And what I mean by that is expanding your knowledge and understanding there's a lot more out there.
I think if anyone is, an entrepreneur or a leader at a company, if they, you have to work on your craft. It just doesn't, you're just going to stay stagnant. You have to, listen to podcasts, read books, videos. I mean, you have to, you have to keep feeding your mind, the right ideas and be around other successful people and be part of groups and network. And I mean, it just morphs, right? You pick up things that you need to be successful. And
where do you think, let's stay on this topic of growth for a second. And where do you think a lot of business leaders might waste their time?
Focus on, what's important, but not urgent. It's so easy to not focus on the things that need to be done when there's so many things hitting you in the face, and you get gratitude from putting out that fire, but it didn't move you. It didn't move you forward with your strategy. So it's, I think that, really,
so see above the trees a little bit.
Yeah. Working on the business and not in the business all the time so much. So you have to have people to help you do that, which, I'm fortunate to have those people that work for me that do a lot of the day-to-day stuff and buy into our vision at the company and allow me to spend most of my time, thinking about, a better way to do a process or, just working, better systems or just better marketing, whatever.
Process training?
What?
Have you had, like you described earlier a little bit about the call center and then the process to go, and have you had any specific process training, or a lot of that coming from learning from others and seeing their process and making tweaks along the way?
It's just really, 40 years of doing it.
Right,
I guess,
we do this, that stinks, and that doesn't work, and let's quit doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's, I guess like the, just, like the cross-selling, coming up with a better way to morph two departments together, or a way to present something. We're a sales organization. We've tried to, back years ago before we joined the organization, we were an order taker organization. If this is what you want, okay, we'll try to do that for you. But today,
you think it's easier or harder for a new business leader to get started today compared to when you got started?
I would say in my industry, it might be harder because of the staffing, and to get started in the home service trades, with plumbing or heating. They could start it fine and keep it a couple of trucks, but to really grow with so many companies out there providing, good benefits and culture and training, and, it would be hard to compete against us if we was, if I was starting over. But
what final thoughts do you have to help motivate anybody listening or watching to take that leap of faith and to really think big, and more importantly, to accomplish those big things?
Gain enough knowledge to create a vision for what you would like your business to be. Put in the work to. You can't just think it. You have to plan it out, right? Like I said earlier, it's a throughput, but don't listen to the devil in your head that says you can't do it. That's for sure. And just be around positive people that have done it, and try to just raise whatever you're into. I would just challenge them to try to be the best in their market at what they do. And if they create the best experience, the highest quality of service, or whatever kind of product or service that they provide, hire the best people you can get to be on your team, because they're just they're representative of you. You can't do it on yourself. And take care of those people and continue to paint that vision, and get that traction and get that flywheel going and just keep pushing it.
Yeah. So I want to thank Tom Drexler for coming in here today. That was a great interview. Thank you for sharing all this experience and this knowledge, your past, all the education that you've done for yourself. I think if I'm listening in and as a business leader and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, that goal's too big. I got to have a realistic goal, right? I get frustrated when I hear people say our goals need to be more realistic, and I'm thinking to myself, no, they need to be bigger, and we just need to develop a better plan to accomplish.
Yeah, we'll shoot for a star and hit the moon, whatever.
That's exactly right. I was telling them, I'd rather have a goal that I was 5 times bigger than the one. If we only get halfway there, we're 2 times bigger than the one you want to set.
Yeah. To be honest, when we do our budgeting every year, which we're in the process now, we go through it and we think, we can get that many leads. We can sell them for that much. And it's we struggle each year hitting it. But the goal was so high, even though we only get most of the way there,
that's right.
It was still better than most. So we'll just keep doing how we're doing it, I guess.
Like you said, the plan, right? You got to have the right plan to get it done.
Got to have the right plan.
So thank you very much for sharing your experience, your expertise, your knowledge. For more information, listen, especially if you're local and you're not just in Louisville, you're Kentucky.
Louisville and surrounding counties.
Yeah, so go to tomdrexlerplumbing.com, correct?
Yes.
All right. And for more information on Move, Crush, Count and our show, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you get instant updates on all new episodes and solutions to some of your biggest challenges. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you subscribe to when you go to visit move.crush.count.com. And if you like this information that we're providing and you like the interviews and you're finding that they're helpful for you, do us a favor. Wherever you're getting your podcast, when you download those, give us a 5-star review. That helps us a lot in there and getting recognized when people are searching for helpful podcasts for themselves. So thank you again, Tom Drexler, for sharing with us. Thank you to all the business leaders in our audience for joining us today on how to exponentially grow your business. We also want to thank our sponsor, J&L Marketing. They are the digital marketing agency that businesses turn to when they want to outsmart and outmarket their competitors, not outspend them. And so make the decision right now to move the crowd, crush the competition, and count the money. So again, I'm Scott Joseph, and thanks for joining us on Move, Crush, Count. Have a good day.